Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every other week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Dick Thickums.
No, that's not my name yet.
Dick
It
Thickens.
Thickens, first of all, not Thickums. It's not Dick Thickums.
Richard Thickens.
Richard Thickens. It's a
I'm
family
sorry,
name.
I'm sorry.
It's a family name.
Currently Ryan Robinson,
Yes.
future name, possibly Dick Thickens.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
apologize.
It's a good.
Thickums.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's a strong name.
Yeah.
It evokes power, you see.
Sure.
Uh,
Thick power.
So guys, what have y'all been playing?
Ooh, Tom, go.
I've been playing, I feel like not much, honestly. Like, I'm still playing Streets of Rage 4,
Nice.
and at this point, I'm technically 2 trophies away from the platinum, but really, like, one of them is just going to happen from playing more. Like, it'll just naturally occur, you know?
Yeah.
So really, I'm 1 trophy away from that platinum, but I don't know if I can do it or not. And it sucks because I've got like fucking a dozen games where I'm like 1 trophy away.
Yeah. So what's the trophy that you're struggling with here?
It's S rank every level on hard.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
but we'll see. I mean, I've got like half of them done, so maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel committed enough.
Yeah. And then one thing I did want to bring up is I played that Unreal Engine 5 Matrix demo,
Yeah.
like that Matrix Tech demo. Holy shit, that's crazy. Have you guys played this yet?
Yeah.
No.
That's a real life Keanu right there.
That's fucking nuts how
Yeah.
crazy that game looks on a console, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you the one?
I mean, you don't really do much, you know? Like, it is a tech demo.
Yeah.
But, like,
Fair
that
enough.
open world is fucking huge, and it's more densely populated than probably any other open world,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Besides
Um,
real life.
Yeah.
The most dense of open worlds.
I don't know. Like, I've been to New York, and I don't think that there were that many cars or people there, you know?
They were just avoiding you.
Yeah.
Like,
And it looks so fucking real, you know? It looks so crazy real.
Yeah.
Would you say it looks like unreally real?
Yeah. Like, you know, like I'm talking to my daughter about it. Like she's sitting next to me. We're like checking it out together. I'm like, you know, there's been so many times where I'm like, games are never going to look better. You know,
Sure.
I'm like,
And then they do.
yeah,
They
it's
find a
fucking
way.
Crazy,
They find a way.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really about it. I bought that Genesis collection, which I have other iterations of. I don't know why I keep buying those fucking old Genesis games. I think it's just like a convenience thing, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, and it was on sale, like dirt fucking cheap. But like,
So what do we got in this?
you know,
collection?
I jump in there and like play a little decap attack, and like that's really it. You know, like
Yeah.
I haven't like sat down and committed to playing any of those games yet. I probably won't, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
But
like
they're there if I want them.
I feel like every time I have bought collections like that, I pop into like a few games. I'm like, hey, that's cool, and then I just never
Yeah.
touch it again.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly that, dude. It's exactly that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
played like a few minutes of this, a few minutes of that, you know, and then like that's it. I will probably not load it up again for a year or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it. Not a whole lot of gaming going on.
Thanks. What about you, Ryan?
Conversely, I've been playing a lot. I don't remember. I think the last time we recorded, I mentioned playing Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So I finished this. I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I'm currently playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is it's that game is pretty cool. The way they have more like of the kind of survival and crafting going on in this one, like where you can like craft different outfits or like pieces of outfits to like give you bonuses and stuff.
Do they still have the cards?
Not insofar as I could tell. Like, you know what?
Okay.
I looked into the whole cards thing after I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
and I went into I saw a menu that allows you to like get more cards, and it like
Yeah.
inundated me with all these card packs. I was like, I'm never looking at these fucking
because you
things.
get them every time you log on to the game.
Yeah, and I'm never fucking looking at these, and I can't be bothered. So, so far, Shadow of the Tomb Raider seems pretty cool. At the very beginning, Lara watches a kid die, which is pretty fucking heavy and gnarly.
Is it actually heavy, or is it like when she kills for the first time in the first game?
Well, okay, so check this out.
Is it trying to be heavy, or is it actually heavy?
So I feel like the game is named such because like Lara is kind of dealing with like a lot of these like feelings of guilt because she feels like there have been like a lot of bad things happening and like that are like kind of directly her fault. And so the game opens with you going into going to a tomb, as she does.
The titular tomb.
Yeah, she raids it. So it is a titular tomb. What I have learned is that there are many tombs in these games. Okay, so she goes into this specific.
Does each one have its own raider, or is she just the only raider?
No, she has been charged with raiding all of them. That's all her. Responsibility. So.
All tombs everywhere.
Sure. Oops, all tombs.
Dude, I would play that. Tomb Raider, Oops, all tombs.
Yeah.
Like if it was just tombs, I would.
Yeah.
Totally
because like those
That's
tombs are like
the best part of those games.
Well, yeah, they're because they're like they made it like they're like these fun little challenge like puzzle challenges, so they're neat. But the first one that she goes into, there's this ceremonial dagger. I forget why she grabs it, but she takes it. Oh, because
she's a raider.
Well, it's not to kill a virgin. It's actually one half of this set that can be used to like save the world or some shit, right?
Virgins.
It'll if that is how you define saving the world, then yes. But if you only have one half of the set, then a lot of bad shit happens. So she takes the dagger, and this is in a place called Cozumel, Mexico. And
been there.
Yeah, so she takes the dagger, and shortly after, this huge flood hits Cozumel, and like a bunch of people get hurt and die, and like so there's a part where she's like, because she's trying to get higher and higher up so like she can get above the water line. Yeah. And there's a part where she's like scaling the side of a building, and there's a kid who's like hanging on. He's hanging on to this what do you call it? The one of those storm drain things that's on the side of the building. And
like a gutter?
Yeah, like one of those.
Yeah.
And like so he's trying to like hang on to it, and Laura's like, "Hold on, I'm coming, I'm gonna help you." And then like before she can get to him, he falls, and like Laura's like pretty fucked up over it.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but I just imagine the kid just like, "Oh shit, she's coming." Nope.
That is what he said. You go back and look at the subtitles. He says literally that. But no, so she's dealing with like all this guilt, and then her friendship with her pal Jonah, who's been with her through all the games, like that's becoming kind of strained.
That big dude.
Yeah. And so
what's funny is that like in the second game, like towards the for like first half of the second game, he's like pissed at her 1 second, and then like the very next scene, he's like, "Okay, let's go do it." You know, like
yeah,
I just can't get behind the writing.
He doesn't let his feelings, interfere with raiding tombs.
Sure. So wrong. Great game, super fun. But,
well, I think that they kind of like go further into the direction of like him kind of holding her accountable for a lot more stuff this time around.
Yeah.
And so then the game kind of delves into like her trauma with like the stuff that she's like because she like walked in on her finding her dad dead like after he shot himself, and that's something that she never actually like, it seems like she never processed that, so she's been carrying that around with her whole life. The game is super cool though. I'm really like there are a lot of like Rambo moments in that game of her like slathering herself with mud to like hide from guys like before she stabs them in the neck and shit. It's really neat though. Also, last night I played this game called Pray for the Gods. Tom, you know of that game?
It's the one that they had to change their name because of Bethesda.
Yeah, so they combine because Bethesda has a copyright on the name Prey. So what they did is they combined the spelling of both forms of prey.
Yeah.
So it's legally copacetic. So this game is basically, if you're familiar with Shadow of the Colossus, it is basically that with some survival and crafting elements thrown in, and also sprinkled around the map are like other enemies that will attack you and that you can fight. So far the game seems okay. I feel like the crafting and survival elements are kind of overwhelming to me with that kind of game, because I'm balancing one of the main things that you deal with is like, because it's perpetually like really cold in this world, right? So one of the things you're dealing with is like keeping your temperature at a safe level, but like also that kind of sucks when you're like trying to kill this giant that you're fighting. And so, like, having to balance those two things is kind of a bit much.
It's like,
The
I
big,
need to pick up all these acorns.
Yeah.
But there's this giant in my way.
Yeah, the giant's always in the way of the acorns. Is the problem.
so the monsters that you're fighting, like, probably one of my favorite things about Shadow of the Colossus is like the first couple, it's pretty easy to figure out, right?
Yeah.
But like the later few, like especially like the second to last one.
Mm-hmm.
If you hadn't seen somebody do it, or you weren't like consulting a guide, like figuring that out on your own is not easy, you know?
Yeah.
Are they as puzzly as that, or is it more straightforward?
So I feel like, so on each monster there's like a specific like kind of weak point, like just like in
Right.
Shadow of the Colossus, except instead of like stabbing that weak point, it's kind of like this it's like a, I don't want to
You
call
tickle it,
you know, well,
you blow on it.
so you know how like, I guess like in like sci-fi movies when they have like an energy cell that they got to pull out and then they got to
Yeah.
push one back. So it's basically that. It's that.
That's cool.
Instead of like stabbing them, you're pulling those things out and then you're pushing them back in. And you got to do each one 3 times. So you can clearly, if you look around at the monster, you can clearly see where those things are, and you have to attack those in a specific order. When you get close to them, they light up really bright, so you know where they are. But you do have to look at the monster like before trying to climb it, so you get an idea of where you need to go to
Yeah.
get that next weak point.
But like I think it's about several of the bosses from Shadow, and like just figuring out how to get on the monster is oftentimes a puzzle, you know?
Yeah. So, like with Shadow, like they kind of, that first monster is pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah.
And he's actually like very similar in form factor to that monster, honestly.
Sure.
The thing, and I don't remember if this was like, this was a thing in Shadow of the Colossus, but he's walking around like the area, and like if you happen to find yourself under one of his, he's got hooves. If you find yourself under one of his
Sure.
hooves, it's instant death, and you got to start the whole thing over again.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, and
Like
so,
you can die by taking damage from enemies, but like
Yeah.
it takes a lot.
yeah,
You really gotta want to die.
yeah. So I don't.
You really gotta just want
Yeah.
to end it all.
Yeah. So I don't know if there are like a lot of like instant deaths like scenarios like that in the rest of the game, but in that first monster, I got stepped on like 5 times and had to start that fight over, and that was kind of frustrating. But overall, the game seems pretty cool. I'm not really into the survival elements of the game.
Yeah.
But it seems as far like the part where you're actually fighting these colossi is actually pretty engaging. The last 2 things I played are Judgment, which I'm glad to be back in the world of, and back in that Yakuza universe, and back in the city of Kamurocho, and it's really cool. It's really cool, like the way that they establish this whole universe out of those games. It's really neat. And there is a lot of fighting in the streets, just like in Yakuza. But now there's like a detective element, because you're a detective now, and you're like gathering evidence and like doing all this other stuff. So that's really fun. I'm really liking that.
You're
element.
a detective. I don't know why I thought he was a lawyer.
So he was a lawyer, right? So
Okay.
he used to be a defense attorney, and then the guy that he got off for murder,
Yeah.
like immediately went and killed his girlfriend.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like his own girlfriend, not the main character's girlfriend.
Yes.
So
did you play Like a Dragon yet?
not yet. That's next after I'm done with Judgment. I'm gonna do that.
Sure.
But so like after the guy he helps get off for that murder charge, like does that, he's like, well, I can't be a lawyer anymore because that fucked my whole vibe up. So he transitions from lawyer.
This wasn't cool, guys.
Yeah, he transitions from lawyer to private detective. And so a lot of the times those worlds intersect because lawyers will ask him to like gather evidence for a trial. So a lot of what he does will be doing that.
Yeah.
The game is really cool though. The fighting is a lot of fun. I'm not really used to some of the things that they allow you to do in this game. Like there's a lot of like jumping off of walls and like kicking dudes in the face or like stringing all these different moves together. But it is a cool game. I like it a lot. And lastly, I because Godfall was free, I played that.
Oh God.
Oh Godfall.
Sorry.
Oh Godfall. Yeah. It's okay. there's not a like don't get me wrong, like the loop it's pretty entertaining, but it's already gotten to the point where I'm just like what is there's that's it. So
yeah.
I got things to do, guys. Like, can we?
But that's basically it.
I forgot about the free games though. Like I'm interested to try out Mortal Shell.
Oh, Mortal Shell is fucking badass. I haven't played a whole lot of that to really speak on it, but it's
so
because he thickens.
Yeah,
you know.
So that is how he blocks. He thickens him. He thickens himself.
Yeah.
2 C's or CK?
It's based on the presentation. It's CK, but depending on the shell you get, it could be 2 C's. I don't know. But one of my last thing, one of my favorite things about Mortal Shell is that sometimes you'll happen upon these some of the guys that you fight are just like, I guess they're just kind of like just regular dudes, and like sometimes they'll just be like sitting around the fire like playing the lute and having a good time, and like when you get into their aggro range, like 2 of them will jump up and try to fight you, and the other guy just keeps playing the lute.
Yeah,
and he's like kind of like, and he's kind of like, you guys okay over there? Need help? No, I'm just gonna keep playing the lute then. And then then I slash and thick until those guys are dead.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the genre. That's the new subgenre of Souls-like games. The slash and thick. That's pioneered by Mortal Shell. When you unthicken yourself.
So, to no one's surprise, I got Pokemon Pearl, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And it's been nice because I have a lot of coworkers and friends that.
Aha.
Oh, Tom, you got it?
It's for the kids.
Double pack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, he has 2 children. It's 2 games. Yeah,
no, it's
perfect. Yeah, when I asked Tom who was playing what, he's like, I don't know.
Neither of them are playing it yet.
It's Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Kids don't watch this.
Sometimes, but rarely.
In the game, you can like pick the name of your friend, and it's like Edward something, and then like Tommy is one of the options. So of course I picked Tommy.
That's right.
You got some weird spiky hair that kind of looks like a weird like crescent moon, but like you rock it, so
Sure.
you're doing great.
Tom's had spiky hair before.
Sorta.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, no, but I really, really like this remake. I'm having a lot more fun with it than I did with Shield. And I've been trying to figure out why. Like,
Nostalgia.
the thing is, I never really super got into like that generation. Like, I know I played Crystal, but I don't remember it. And like playing this game, I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I'm having to like look up. I'm like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? I was like, I did the thing. Why can't I beat this gym? I'm like, where the fuck did the gym leader go? Like, I don't remember doing that. Like, I know I did. I just don't remember it. So like, if I have nostalgia or something, it's like not that generation.
It might just be a better game. Like I remember hearing
And
good things about that generation. You know?
yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I with a lot of the newer games, I don't really get that like I'm doing something vibe. Like I'm like trying to go out and be like the Pokemon Master or like go fight the like Elite Four and stuff. Like with the newer games, I well specifically let's do like Sword and Shield. Like I do like a lot of the stuff that they've done in there with like the fields where you can go like do like the mega
Yeah, yeah.
battles or whatever.
The wild
And
area or whatever it is.
yeah, wild
Yeah.
area, and I like that. And but I like the kind of like I feel like it was like a bit slower in some aspects because like there is like that wild area and there's just like so much variety that you can get at that point.
Yeah.
But like since like I'd say like X and Y, I feel like it's been more of like adults telling you what to do and where to go. Meanwhile, like with this game, like the professor is like, "Hey, you need to go inspect these things." Like I feel like there's less like guidance from other characters
Oh, I'm
in
sure
the
you're right.
in the earlier games.
Yeah.
And I feel like you are the one that's going to become a Pokemon Master or catch them all or whatever. Like it feels less guided, and
Yeah.
I think that's my why. But maybe somebody who's smarter about these games could like tell me why I feel this way. Uh, but I've also been playing Halo Infinite. I haven't played the campaign yet, but I've been playing a good amount of the online, um, and it's nice because I'm finally seeing like more progression, and like with my skill set, like I'm dreading going back to finish 3 because like I'm so used to being able to run now. Like
Mhm.
I'm not good with a grappling hook, but I'm getting better. And I actually like did really, really well at capture the flag the other night, and I was like,
Nice, dude.
I'm still riding off that high. Like I was at zero deaths. I've never had that happen in a game before. And it was
Nice.
Yeah.
like 10. It was 10 kills, or no, yeah, it was 10 kills, 0 deaths, and 6 assists. And I was like, yeah, I was super proud of it. But
Hell yeah, dude.
yeah, like I don't know. It's been really nice. Like I I haven't really enjoyed playing first person shooters in like a hot minute. Like
Sure.
Borderlands is probably the last one. And I definitely don't really like playing like competitively for the most part. But like with the besides Slayer, which is just the kill stuff, which I'm terrible
Slayer.
at. Like I'm having a lot of fun with all the other ones. Like I really like
Yeah.
the I mean Capture the Flag I just did really well at, but I really like the I don't know what to call it, but it's like the one where you have like 3 bases pop up and like you gotta go like protect them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a King of the Hill
Uh,
mode, or like a whatever. I don't know.
but yeah, but like that one I've been getting pretty good about like since we've been playing a lot is like remembering the maps and then like after my team will kind of take an area, like I'll find like a good like hiding spot and like be just in the range so we keep it. So if someone else shows up, I just start picking them off.
Yeah.
Like that feels good. Like I finally feel like
Cheating.
Yeah, feels
No,
good to cheat.
I'm just playing.
yeah, I'm a big old cheater. But like I finally like I never played Overwatch, but I assume that I'd probably feel the same way about Overwatch. But it's really nice to like really I actually feel like I'm contributing to something and not just like
Yeah.
hurting the team by being on it
Yeah.
because I'm bad. Because if it's like all about deaths, man, I am racking that up most of the time.
Sure.
But yeah, it's nice to be able to see progress. I've been playing with my friend Sean and his cousin. So it's it's nice having people to regularly play with. And then Outlanders, the Apple Arcade game, came out with some new levels and like some new features. I don't know if I necessarily like all of them.
Is that
but,
I'm sorry. Is that the town building one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. The one I've been obsessed with since it came out? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that one, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best update they've done, but it's interesting. So if you haven't played it in a hot minute or ever, there's now more levels than there's ever been.
Which is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else have I been playing? I know I've been playing more. I played a little bit of Smash. Uh,
How's that Wave Dash coming along?
all right, I've given up on Sora. I'm just going back to my Byleth.
Yeah.
But
Which one is that? Is that a sword boy?
Yeah.
it's a Fire Emblem boy or girl. It's like
Oh, it's
a
a.
main character, so you could pick either
I
gender.
see.
But they got a sword, a lance, a bow, yeah, and like an axe. So they got all the weapons.
Nice.
The main categories you see.
Sure.
Sure.
Trying to think of what else. I know I've played more than that, and because I've actually been playing while watching like trashy TV. I mean, it's honestly been a lot of Pokemon, and it's been really like nice because like having other people to play with and like trade with besides like one other person, which has just been like
Yeah.
Birdo.
Sure.
Because Birdo's not playing it. He's been like balls deep in the new Final Fantasy or DLC. Or not DLC. Is it
Expansion?
expansion?
Like for
Thank you.
14?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could not think of the word expansion. Thank you.
It's the same. DLC expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think.
I mean, I know.
I think only.
you'll
In
know
fact,
what I mean, but
yeah.
still.
Yeah.
I think only MMOs call them expansions anymore. Actually. So. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know video games.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. I think you're wrong.
Sure.
It's content that you download,
Yeah.
So
What do you call
but
that?
He's a bunny boy and having fun with that. Man, I'm gonna remember as soon as we get off this. But
well, when you
yeah,
when you do remember, just yell it out.
yeah.
okay.
Right when Ryan's trying to make a point.
That's actually the best time, apparently. So.
It just something about wanting to interrupt you on a subconscious level just really brings out my memory.
Sure. I just have one of those faces,
Yeah.
I've got an interruptible face.
And voice. But so I've also been like watching some videos, and I was watching some stuff on like the PS5, and really what has made like, I guess like as far as like this generation goes, like kind of a lot of differences. But they're talking about like the fast loading times and saying that they wanted less load screens in a game, and then it started thinking more about like all the hidden loading screens that we've had in games over the years to try and like make up for the fact that you are sitting there loading for the actual game to like come up.
Yeah.
But and how a lot of those are probably going to be going away, and yeah, so I'm thinking about like all the times like you're in an elevator, or there's like a little mini game, or something interactable. Because like, for example, like Fire Emblem, whenever you're loading, there's like you have a little loading like little animation at the bottom, but there's a little bylith, and if you like use the motion controllers, it'll run back and forth. So I'll play
it's something to
like
fuck with. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be and that one's not necessarily a hidden one, but
it's something to fiddle with while you wait.
Yeah, it's not just you just sitting there, because I know. Because I vividly remember so many loading screens, especially with my PS1 and PS2, where I would just sit there, and I can't remember the first game. It was like on the same level like Ape Escape. It was like a kid's game, but I remember it being like super fun. That like was like my first one that I really recognized. That like it was like a little like puzzler as you went through. It was like a little picture puzzle that you did like while you're waiting, and I thought that was like the neatest thing. And I don't necessarily mind like when you're going through like a narrow hallway, and like you have to like turn your character and like press X to like just like scooch along. Like those are more like the hidden loading screens, because that's just something for you to do while that other section loads. But yeah, so that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Some of your favorites Do
So
you think
like,
that, like, you're gonna recognize or miss them later? Like, do you think it's gonna be kind of like an indicator of like age in a game? I mean, obviously
I
besides
don't
graphics.
like. I think like certain things will remain, right? Like when I think about elevators in at least in games that have loading, right? Like have loading that is long enough for you to wait through. My mind immediately goes to Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, uh, and neither of those are loading. After you take the elevator, it then loads. It then goes to a loading screen, you know? But it's like that would be the perfect place for your loading screen because, you know, it works in the context of those games. You want to see yourself descending to Rapture or ascending to Columbia, you know? But like no, you take the elevator or the bathysphere or whatever, and then it cuts to a loading screen.
Yeah.
You know? Which like it's I'm fine with. Like those loading screens have some interesting things to read at least, you know.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite kind of loading screen, as far as like, you know, something that's interactable, even though it's really not. Um,
I mean, content while you wait. At
right.
least.
But like, I think what I will miss is like Bayonetta. Bayonetta's loading is the training room, and like that's when you have time to practice your shit. And on fast hardware, like if I play Bayonetta on my PC, it loads so quickly that there is no training room. It's just gone.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't get to train anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So like I miss that. But like as far as like in-game things, like Tomb Raider does this a lot, where you're like sliding through a crack, right?
Yeah,
And that's loading.
that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, like I don't think we'll lose that completely. I think we'll see less of it, you know. But because Tomb Raider does it way too much, you know. But like, but I don't think it'll be completely gone.
Yeah. Whenever I hear about hidden loading screens, the first thing that always comes to mind is the Gears of War walk and talk.
Oh yeah.
Where like it's either you're talking with the other guys there, or you're talking to someone on the radio, or like over the radio, and like they make you walk really slow while the game loads. But they still give you control, and they still feel like make you feel like there's something going on. They're giving you some kind of exposition during the loading screen.
That's what the new Resident Evils do, you know.
Yeah.
It used to be the door or the stairs, but now it's exactly what you're saying.
The door is so cool though, and like what's funny is like as a child, it didn't register to me that the doors were loading screens, because I thought it was just like that's just how they're building the tension to make it extra spooky in here.
Oh yeah.
But
It's
like,
just pacing.
but sometimes they would use it to fuck with you because because I remember playing Resident Evil 2, like the B route. And going through, like going to open a door, and the loading screen pops up, but oh no, there's zombies behind the door.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is really neat because it's still.
Well, yeah, the new ones do it too, though, right? Like I was replaying 2, I don't know, a few weeks ago, the 2 remake, you know.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing with Ada the whole time you're walking around with fucking Ada. It's the same shit. You know?
Yeah. And that's cool, you know.
I think like my least favorite thing about like the elevator waiting ones is that like sometimes it takes a little bit extra longer to load.
Mm.
So like you can like move your character around the elevator and you're just like, come on, doors. Well, like, let's open now. Like, are you done?
Yeah.
Like, come on, you can do. I believe in you. And like, there's been like definitely a couple times where I'm like, did my game just crash? Like, am I just stuck in this elevator for now?
Yeah. Okay, what about the horizontal elevator, like a tram or something like that, you know, like Half-Life or like that type of thing. Like I always like that, okay. And I would not like I don't want to see that go away completely, you know.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of like gets you excited for like what you're about to do. I felt that the first time I played Half-Life, like being on that tram and like listening to like whatever was being said over the PA system, like looking around the tram and seeing like all this other shit happening. It kind of it made me feel excited because I was like, oh, what's this? Like, what's gonna happen in this game? You know. And it's a lot better. It's a lot better than looking at a loading screen with a spinning emblem for 30 seconds, you know? So.
Or like pretty much all of Half-Life where it just stops and says loading.
Yeah.
And then lets you move,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It reminds one of the things I'm reminded of with loading too is playing Mortal Kombat 3 on
the codes.
Well, that because those were cool because sometimes you get to play whatever.
Galaga.
Yeah, Galaga.
Joust.
And Joust. Yeah. Those were neat. And like, or like you do other things like give you little weird modifiers during the fight or whatever. But playing, I remember I bought Mortal Kombat 3 for my Sega Saturn, and there are, and Tom, I think we've talked about this before a few times with Shang Tsung. They have options where like Shang Tsung can either morph only into the person that he's fighting, or he can morph into anybody in the roster. If you select the latter, then the game's got to load for a couple seconds every time.
Which is so funny to think about, right?
Yeah.
Because like you typically think of the Saturn as more powerful than the Genesis or the SNES, which like it is.
Sure.
But those load much faster, so that wasn't a problem. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just like I remember playing Shang Tsung, and like that's the thing about Shang Tsung also is like memorizing all the morphs because they're all different inputs, and like knowing like I was like playing against a friend and like choosing a morph to morph into a character that I knew he couldn't handle, and then I'm just like, just wait till this loading screen is done because you're gonna fucking get it. Stuff like that, but. And those are times where like loading is inconvenient, but also like in hindsight, it's very funny.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of like DS games and like older games that I've played, like and I had a list written down, but I can't find the notebook that I wrote stuff down in. So like so me and my shitty memory going off this, but like some games have like little mini games while it loads.
Yeah.
Like I said, like one was like the little picture one where you like the block and you gotta like move it around to like get a whole picture. But some of them were like little collecting games or whatever. And there's definitely been times where I just like get into the loading screen like mini game where I just get pissed off where it loads. I'm like, no, I almost got all the apples. Like, no, I was one away.
Sure.
See, what's funny with like the DS is like that has to be a more intentional thing, as like here's this extra thing for you to do. More so than let's mask our loading, because DS loads times were incredibly fast.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was I remember getting in this conversation with someone like a few months ago, specifically about Persona 5, and they were playing Persona 5 on their PlayStation 5, and whenever you're going to different areas, then there'd be a transition screen that would show you that would show the train for a few seconds, and then you'd be wherever you were trying to go. And it was one of those things that it was like he was where the criticism was like he's like, I'm on the PlayStation 5. I shouldn't have to watch these loading screens every time. It's like, well, no, it's like those don't have to be there, but it's like it's very much an intentional stylistic choice to like show that transition.
Well, it's just funny. You think about like Spider-Man on PS4 versus PS5, like those train rides when you fast travel.
Yeah.
Like you don't see the subway anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's just not there anymore.
Yeah.
But.
I do wonder what that's like on the PS5, because like obviously I've played Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal multiple times on my PS4.
It's the same.
And it's the same because
it's the same because
same loading time.
Yeah, because you could
same software. It's not a different SKU.
Well, it's not even just that, but you can still like the developer can set can hard code like a minimum amount of time for that screen to appear.
Right.
And so they could be like, well, we want the screen to appear like at least 3 seconds, and then it will, regardless of how fast your hardware is.
But it also does have to do with the SKU, though. If you play the PS4 version of Spider-Man on a PS5, those load times will still exist.
Sure.
They will be decreased, but they will still be there.
It's
like the loading screens whenever it's just like the cityscape thing, and it's just like, and all you can see is like the little indicator at the bottom, like, are the Phantom Thieves real? It's like anon, like little messages, and it goes like up and down on the little bar thing.
Yeah, but like there's
and those are And so I figured those would be decreased, at least by a little bit, on PS5.
And they probably are.
Yeah.
Like, very minutely, they probably are.
Right.
You know?
But
yeah, I want to know those minute differences,
but
Tommy.
again,
I want to know how it affects how I feel about the
you gotta
game.
watch some Digital Foundry then.
Yeah, yeah. If minutia is your thing, then Digital Foundry is where you want to go. But again, like those things can also be a stylistic or artistic choice. And like it's like, well, I want you to look at this for at least a few seconds, so I'm going to make it so you
very
can
pretty.
look at this. Yeah. But,
so I think like loading screens don't necessarily have to be masked to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
not at all.
I think about games like that. I don't really care for. Like I don't really care for Skyrim, but like I like those loading screens.
Give me a little lore.
They give you a little bit of lore. They show you for the time a nice model.
Yeah,
you know,
and you can spin that some bitch around.
Yeah. Like I like that. Or like Nier Automata, like. Everything in that game is contextual, right? Even like the fucking options menu,
right?
You know, So like the few times you see a loading screen, if you actually read what's on that loading screen, like it makes sense to what you are doing, you know?
Right.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do remember that whenever I played Nier, that was nice.
Yeah.
And like, kind of, like obviously makes it like more immersive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like
one of the ones that has like fascinated me a lot is Death Stranding.
Because it's all one loading screen.
Well, it's
zing.
It's really cool because like all the instances where like you would be like, okay, well this is a loading screen, like it lets you skip basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like watching kind of like watching the way that game like never really like there are very few instances in that game where they have you like traveling like along like a very long linear path like for an extended period of time, just like going in a straight line for a extended period of time, but everything else is kind of just like pretty much instantaneous, and it's really.
But you're typically, unless you're in a vehicle or something, like you're moving relatively slow,
right? So
that stuff has
right.
time to load,
and which is like typically the way that you're gonna want to like handle like an open world video game,
right?
But it is really cool, just the way that like even with that in mind, like it just a lot of it just feels like really seamless, and the way that like the way how well they're able to hide that. And like in interactive moments in the game is really cool.
You know, it's funny you say that, like Mario Odyssey, and since Mario Odyssey, I've noticed a lot of other games do it as well, but this is the first that I noticed. It's loading like while you're playing, you know?
Right.
But like a 3D object that is far enough in the distance that you wouldn't really notice the detail on is a 2D object,
right?
Until you get close enough to it, you know? Right. And that's a smart way of hiding loading. Also, like you might only be seeing what the camera is facing, whereas behind you there
all that stuff just
disappears. Right. And like that's really smart too.
It's you can actually find like a few different like videos on different open world games that'll like show your cone. It like they'll pull the camera out and then it'll show like your cone of vision. And like they'll like maybe show a bunch of trees around you, like, and those trees will like just pop out of existence when you turn around.
And while it's not a hidden loading screen, like that is hidden loading,
right?
You know?
Right.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. A lot of the time, with like pretty much every space game I've ever played, one of the most frequent loading screens you're gonna see after that initial boot up is like whenever you're warping to another system. And you're just we'll be sitting in hyperspace for like between 15 and 20 seconds while you're waiting to show up wherever you're going.
But contextually,
it makes sense.
You know? Yeah,
it's cool. Like I like when the way that they do that, because it's like it's being hidden inside of a function that I'm already performing.
Right, and that's why I was going back to BioShock. Like those two instances would be perfect for loading. You know.
Yeah,
because they didn't do it.
Yeah.
How do you? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. so like some of like the loading and stuff like that, they'll have like extra character dialogue in some games. Not necessarily like a cut screen, but like the still model and like voice bubbles or whatever. Or like you're talking about the Gears of War, like the speaking thing.
Yeah.
And like sometimes in those games, I'm like really down for it because I'm like, oh, great, like there's so much action or something else going on, so I don't get a lot of depth out of this character. So this kind of gives me more like of a reasons to give a shit about them.
Yeah.
Or to hate them. I'm like, hope it is die. But like sometimes I like it just I feel like it makes the game drag, and this is like specifics to like more of like the RPGs and stuff like that, where I'm just like, because like sometimes with it, like with some JRPGs, like I would say it was like a Atelier game where like I just have to like go through the dialogue and then it'll like fully load everything. It's not like doing it while it's there, and so I'm just like, I don't give a shit what you said, kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to get to this next part.
Right.
I don't want to talk to you. If you could just go sit over there. And I don't know if you've ever had any of those moments where like it made you feel a different way about the game. I mean, obviously, like you said that you liked the voices of Gears of War, but
I think like it can definitely have a positive or negative effect.
Mm-hmm.
While I've still yet to play the God of War, whatever you want to call it, reboot, sequel.
yeah,
You know, like I know that game has very little loading,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that that is one of the things it is praised for. You know,
Yeah.
so you know it can be either or for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
because there's definitely times where like you have little like conversations with your son.
right?
I'm thinking of the boat times specifically. Right. But I don't think any of those are really like covering uploading. But I may be ignorant. I don't know how necessarily they get away with that. But
and I think Red Dead Redemption 2 does like some similar stuff with that.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I mean, I think if it fits the game, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely games that I have felt like I don't like disgruntled with because of the loading screens that I just feel like are unnecessary. I know in like on PS2, one of the Xeno games was like that. Where I was like,
that's such a time and place thing, though. Like I've gone back and played PS1 games, and I'm just like, really? This is how long it took? Holy shit! Like, load the fucking game, you know? Like, it's hard to remember how far we've come, you know? But
oh yeah, but like even for that time, there's just times like I play a lot of like RPGs, and I like I always have, and a lot of those have a lot of long loading screens. So.
Dude, I mean, you know what's funny? Like, what I think is a blessing that we don't often have to deal with now. That really it is loading. I don't have to change a fucking disc anymore. You know? I don't have to
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know?
And then there's
because you can lose them some bitches.
And then I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but like, so you'd have like 2 to 5 discs for whatever game, but like one of the discs would get scratched.
Oh, yeah.
So like, and of course it'd always be like, if you have 3, it's the second one. It's always like the middle or like something in between where it's not like the very beginning. Oh man. I think when I was that happened to because it was the Final Fantasy. It wasn't Lightning Returns. It was like the first one. I can't remember the number off the top of my head right now. But 13. I knew it was an odd number.
Yeah.
But
I think it was 360 had 3 discs.
Yeah.
2 or 3
so
discs.
I scratched the 3rd disc, and somebody traded in. And I was gonna have to defect it out anyways, trade it in the game, but like all the discs but that disc were very scratched. So I just like
swapped it,
replaced them at work, and I was like, well, it's already gonna go get refurbished.
Wow. I'm calling the police.
But I did that. But I mean, luckily I was in a position I could. But that was always like, I think one of the most heartbreaking things was like, everything else works. Why can't this one disc not be scratched?
Shanae, how does it feel to finally get that off your chest? It sounds like you've been carrying that around for a while.
I'm a new woman. I feel like all my trauma gone. Hair, no more split ends. Sure. My life's wonderful now.
It's like Peter Parker finally telling the world he's Spider-Man, you know? It's been...
Do you remember the... Oh, keep going. Sorry.
No, I was done.
Oh,
I think
am I going to have Doctor Strange and like help with the universe to get back? Anyways, but do you remember that there was like when there was loading screens for like the PS1 memory cards?
Oh yeah. Well, like,
I remember just sitting there, just like waiting for all the little game like thumbnail icons to show up, so I would know which game is like the load is for, the save is for.
Yeah, I think like the most classic instance of like hiding your loading that is still used today that I don't think we're going to see go anywhere is cutscenes.
Yeah.
You know?
I was just thinking about that.
Like any Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or even these Tomb Raider games you're playing. You know?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
There are still loading screens, but like so many of those are hidden by cutscenes.
But they make them exciting so you don't mind.
Right.
You know?
And obviously you're seeing more and more with like newer consoles that a lot of those are now skippable instead of having to wait the whole time. But yeah, no, I think because I know there's a lot of games I've gotten like when they've gotten like remade or whatever from like PS2 to PS3 or what, or like other consoles. It always seems like there's more like skippable things like from the previous iteration because
goes on. Sure.
But
man,
you know, it was funny because like when Shanae, like every time one of you guys says something, like it takes me back to a specific time in my life when I've experienced one of these specific things. I remember, for the PS1, this was back in the PS1 days when the cases were like that big.
Long.
Yeah. The long boys, right? And I had this
tall boys.
Yeah, them tall boys. So I had this pinball video game, which was very cool because it had a lot of really neat sound effects and a lot of shit going on the table, whatever. Anytime you went into one of the tables, that game took forever to load. I remember even back then being like, man, you got it, Ryan, make sure this is the table you want to play because you're going to be sitting here for the next hour waiting for this son of a bitch.
That was always the worst for like earlier games.
Yeah.
Whenever something did have a lot of loading, oh man, and you're trying to go through muscle memory, go through the menu, and then select the wrong thing, and you're just like, well, I'm not gonna be able to play the game tonight because it's not gonna load enough time.
Dude, one of my favorites.
Or turn the console off so then you can make the re choices and not have to wait and go back.
Yeah.
One of my favorites that like I have fond memories of this shitty loading. Is Street Fighter Alpha 2, the Super Nintendo version. One, it was a miracle that they got that game to run on that console.
They crammed it in there.
But like every single match, round one, fight, and then a few seconds later you could fight, you know? And you play any other version of that game that's not that way.
Sure.
You know? But like that's the one that I grew up with. So
yeah. And you were happy to be there.
Yeah.
Do you think that like some of the, like, let's say, like, your kids' age, Tommy, like, well, they're not your kids, because they're cool kids. They play older games, but but, like, how jarring it's going to be for any of them to play more retro games that haven't, like, been updated or whatever, and be like, why the fuck is this taking more than 1 second?
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you're right.
And I think that's just like a funny thing to be, because it can be our video game generations. Like I walked up the hill both ways to school.
Yeah. I don't even like it's like I try to give them some context for that. You know, we talk about like how much it sucks that the additional storage for a PlayStation 5 costs more than the fucking console.
Like
you know?
Son of a bitch, dude.
Right, but I'm like, you know, every single NES, SNES, N64, and GameCube game would all fit on this with additional room.
Easy.
You know? Yeah.
Easy.
You know? But I'm sure you're right. Like there are some things, like my kids are pretty used to that. My daughter especially plays a lot of old shit,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was like, not your kids, but cool kids, but like some noobs, some casuals.
yeah.
If they try to go back and play older versions of games, then oh man, no, and also like on the Game Boy too, like some of the loading was just like the transition screens.
Mhm.
Like I remember some like I want to say it was Pokemon Yellow, but like you would do the picture and then do like the kind of like this little
The swirly.
swirly, and then it would all be black, and then it would do like the swirly to like be a picture again.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's more of an artistic choice because
sometimes it took a really long time, and I'm pretty sure that was loading something.
But they wanted you.
Sure it is.
But they wanted you to make sure you knew it was real.
Yeah, not everything, right? But most cartridge-based stuff loads so fucking fast.
Yeah,
like games like that, you are right, take a little bit longer because they've got that memory built in, which was new at the time, right? You didn't see it a whole lot at the time, but
like I remember playing N64 and being like, hell yeah, I ain't got to load shit.
Yeah,
but I mean, everyone's hands were blocks and their faces were painted on, but.
Just like real life.
Sure.
But like that's like the most impressive thing to me with loading on this current generation is not games. Like I don't mind waiting for games to load.
Right.
Fucking 10, 15 seconds. Like that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation Store.
Oh my god!
Like looking at trophies.
Oh my god! It's good again.
That I appreciate.
Finally.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
To
Not again.
be honest.
Finally.
Finally. I meant
People
finally.
Forget how terrible PlayStation 3 was.
Holy
shit.
Listen to me.
It didn't even make it in their store. They just had a web browser in their thing. It was bonkers.
I got both the 3 and 4 hooked up, and let me tell you something. I don't bother with trophies or nothing on either of those things because I'm gonna be here till tomorrow if I click on that sumbitch.
Yeah.
I as somebody who's still on the PS4, like I was what game did I recently platinum? It was Persona 5. But when I was like I had accidentally bumped up to the trophy area. Mm-hmm. No, it was because I had got a trophy, so I pressed the button just to kind of see. And that took forever.
And you were just stuck there.
Yeah.
Then I never.
That's your new home now.
Still loading.
Yeah.
It's been months.
Like, dude, there were times like on the PS4 where I was like, I want to pop in and see what's on the store. Like that was a fucking mistake.
Yeah. So like definitely like UI for me is the biggest improvement.
For sure.
I'm sure like late in the generation we're gonna see games on fucking Unreal 5 that look phenomenal and like it'll be great. But like for now, just the fact that things are a bit snappier.
Yeah.
Because even like the ones that would take a whole like fuck ton of time on on some consoles to like load as like the actual games, and they had stuff, they normally did have like script on there for you to read or like tips or like
right.
There is interactive. You are 100% correct that when it comes to the like home screen or the UI. I think that is like significantly more maddening because it's not not interactive in any capacity.
Sure.
They always just have it just slowly loading. There's no fun facts
That's
about
called
Sony while my trophies pop up.
That's called sloading. I just made that up. I remember.
Is that what we're gonna do now, Brian? Just make up words?
Yeah.
Pretend that these words exist.
Matt, Sinead,
correct each other.
Sinead, all words are made up. Stay woke. Anyway, I remember launched Bloodborne PS4 launch day, the game that is designed to kill you over and over again, where every time you die, you got to stare at a loading screen for 3 fucking minutes. Holy shit, that was horrible.
That's such a good point, right? Like. If you think about, I mean, not necessarily just that genre, but roguelites and roguelikes. Yeah. Right. Those are the ones that succeed. The ones that get you right back into it super fast.
Right. Right. Yeah. And like, and it like that's a thing too, right? Is it like it kind of like even in a game where you're meant to die over and over again, if they can get you back into the action in a minimum amount of time, then like it's you're fine because like I'm just gonna get back into it.
I was already getting like annoyed when I played Ninja Gaiden 2. Like if I had to like wait a really long load time in between that, I would have broken that disc.
You're just sitting there thinking about like how bullshit that last death was.
Yeah.
And we're like,
where it's like I've only played for 3 hours and I already got the achievement for 1,000 deaths.
Do not give me the chance to ruminate on how garbage this game is. Just let me keep playing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, any game with lots of retries, man. Like, that's super important for me.
And so like I don't know if this was like for like loading stuff, but there was like Kingdom Hearts fight, like a boss fight with like Ansem, and for like the original version of it, you couldn't skip it. So if you couldn't skip the little intro thing, so you would die and you would like get to him, have to listen to this entire fucking monologue, do the things, die, come back, listen to the entire fucking monologue while they.
Dude, that is the best thing.
It was a long, like I have to imagine that some of that was for loading.
Yeah.
Because like it was a boss fight. It's a pretty massive thing with the stage would like he would change, the stage would change. It's a bunch of Kingdom Hearts bullshit. But like, man, I used to have that speech memorized.
That's the best thing about the GTA trilogy, the definitive edition, is like when you die, not having to make your way back to that mission, you know, just restarting the mission. Like that is the best thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you know what the worst is though? When like you die in a game, like hoping that that's what they're gonna do, and then they don't do it. That's the fucking worst. That's what happened to me in Pray for the Gods last night. Is like because like in that first fight, there's like a little lead up walk to like awaken him and then fight him, right? So when I died that first time, I was like, okay, what they're gonna do is they're gonna spit me back out to like right when this fight starts. I'll be in front of him, be walking around. No, I gotta take the walk again. Okay, and we're not doing that in 2021. Sorry.
Yeah. See, and what's funny is Shadow of the Colossus does the same thing, right? Like, if you die, you start back at that central temple.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it might be a good 10, 15 minutes before you get to try again. But, like, at the same time, like, you really shouldn't be dying in that game a whole lot, you know?
Yeah. I was like, it is, at the same point, it is also Shadow of the Colossus.
Tommy, some people are just bad at video games, you know?
Sure.
How's it going?
Like Shanae, who's a like, Halo savant, like, apparently, so...
What?
You're a Halo savant, so.
Oh, just for one game. The rest of garbage.
Sure.
I took a screenshot on my computer of it and then sent it to myself on my email so I can add it to my Google Drive, and then sent a picture to Berto of it like immediately after because he was sleeping, and I was like, yeah, look what your wife fucking did.
Yeah. Not even disrespecting that man's sleep. Yeah.
No, that's why I was texting.
No, so he would be proud.
Proud?
Instead of like going in there and waking him up. Sure. Well, my message to him was, I hope this doesn't make your dick too hard, but look what I just did.
Yeah. I hope this doesn't make your dick too hard.
Yeah. Alberto Thickens.
Yeah. Bert Thickens. It's a good name.
But to go back to like actual video games.
Sure.
Well, I guess that is about video games. Anyways, but the like in the action adventure game when like you're right before a checkpoint and like it's just been so long since the past one. Yeah. So then you die and like you're like stuck going back further, and so you're just pissed, so you're just like running through to try and get to this next thing because you've already done it. And then you die like further and you just like can't hit that fucking second checkpoint.
It has nothing to do with loading, but like
I know it doesn't.
The games that let you gamble that shit, like Shovel Knight, you're like, no, I'm gonna take some money. I don't need this checkpoint. I'm gonna take some money, you know. Or like Cyber Shadows, like the same thing, you know. It's like, no, you take the fucking checkpoint, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd gamble it. I like to roll the dice. Well, live dangerously. Like apropos of nothing, I appreciate the games that like will tell, like before you turn the game off, they're like, hey, just so you know, It's been like half an hour before you last saved. Do you want to do this? You want to go
you
ahead
turn
and
it
take
off,
care of
you're
that?
going to be fucked.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I do love that, and some games it is kind of annoying, but for the most part, I do generally like the autosave because I'm very dumb and I forget things.
Yeah. Those two things are true.
But I'll just smile through it.
Sure.
Y'all got anything else you want to talk about with loading screens?
I think so. I did. You know, when you first brought up the topic, I was like, "How are we going to fill a whole episode about fucking loadings?" You know. So.
Yeah, but
good topic.
We've proven that we can talk about anything. I will tell you. You know what I experienced. You know what's the biggest heartbreak I've experienced over and over again this last couple of weeks is I for some reason. Well, like I'm playing a game, right? And I'm like, I need to I get something in my mind, like I'm trying to remember like the name of something or want to check something out real quick. And so I'll go out to the dashboard. This is on PlayStation. I'll go out to the dashboard and I mean to go over to applications so I can look at the game so I can remember that thing so it'll stop bothering me. But instead I accidentally open a different game and then ruin my fucking session in the other game.
Yeah. Yeah.
There should be a second confirm option.
There should be there needs to be a child lock on that because I just.
Can I put a pin on this?
Yeah. Or just let you have multiple apps open at once.
Yeah, just let me just don't.
Since it is basically a PC now.
Yeah. Just protect.
Why can't I just have two things open at once?
Yeah, protect me from myself, basically.
Yeah.
Because I did that 3 times yesterday.
Save me from myself. I've in essence love them. But I do think I had stuff written down and I was searching and I didn't think to look before 5:50. Yeah. And I was like, so I looked for 5 minutes. I was like, well, I can't find it, so I'm just gonna go ad lib off of here.
Yeah, we'll just see. Yeah.
Shanae Howard, chronic procrastinator.
So,
yeah.
It's one of my charms.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I just, I do agree that, yes, there's going to be the cutscenes, and there's probably still going to be some elevator or other things but I feel like it's going to be more tension based and pacing in a story rather than hiding, loading, or to have that. I do think we're going to see less of, depending on if it's a little mini game, probably still have them, but less of the loading screens with the games in them. We're going to see obviously less of, I think we're going to see less of just loading screens in general with the tidbits of information. They'll probably figure out different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Get it point across. But yeah, I just thought it was, I'm glad that y'all liked it because I just thought it was interesting to think about when we think about changes in video games, we normally think of hardware rather than the actual game.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah. I hope to one day be inside of the video game, and so I don't have to load anything ever again.
You are the game.
Yeah. I'm going to play myself. That's it. That's my thought.
That was a good lead-up joke.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know, we're on most podcast apps like Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. If you just heard that was my stomach.
If you're listening to this, you know where we are.
We're on the YouTubes.
That's true.
If you want to see our faces.
Yeah.
We have a Discord.
What up, Google?
And it will be linked somewhere. And bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.